We are now going to cover DOTD TR202, Air Content of Freshly Mixed Concrete Method A, Volumetric Method. This method of test covers the procedure for determining the air content of concrete with a slump greater than 1 inch by determining the volumetric displacement of air with water after thorough agitation.
Now, before we can test the air content of our concrete using the volumetric method, we need to make sure we have all the equipment necessary to run the test. We need our lower bowl portion of our air meter. We need our top section of our air meter here. We need to inspect it. Look here, there's an O-ring on this underside. Need to inspect it for damage, make sure it's not missing or damaged in any way. We need our specialized funnel that goes inside of our air meter here. We need our screw cap to seal off the air meter during agitation. And we need our calibrated cup. This calibrated cup is equal to 1% volume of the total air meter. We need our 5/8 inch diameter tamping rod. A rubber mallet to help consolidate the concrete. We need our strike-off bar to finish off the top of our sample. We need towels to help clean off our flange here, help us get a good seal. We need our standard concrete scoop. We need a source of water, and we need isopropyl alcohol to help dispel the foam. Now that I've verified that I have all the equipment necessary to run the test and I've obtained a sample in accordance with DOTD S301, first thing we want to do is take a damp rag or a source of water of some sort and go ahead and dampen our test device. So I'll take me a damp rag and I'll dampen my bowl. I'll dampen the inside of my air meter a little bit, especially the O-ring. Inspect the O-ring one more time to make sure it's not damaged or missing. All right. Now I have my tamping rod and my strike-off bar sitting in a container of water, so they're already ready to go and everything. Okay, I have all my surfaces dampened. What I want to do now is go ahead and fill my bowl here in 2 equal layers. I'm going to take my 5/8 inch diameter tamping rod here, and I'm going to rod each layer 25 times in a spiraling pattern. I'm going to start on the outside edge and work my way towards the center. After rodding each layer, what I'm going to do is use my rubber mallet to kind of dislodge any pockets of air that I forced in there while rodding. We hit it 10 to 15 times. On my second layer, I'm going to overfill my measure slightly to allow for some consolidation while I rod. Same thing with my tamping rod. I'm going to rod it 25 times. But on the first layer, I was real careful not to strike the bottom of the mold. But on the second layer, I'm going to make sure I penetrate the underlying layer slightly. Same thing with my mallet, 10 to 15 times. Now when I strike with my mallet, I'm doing mid-layer. So on the first layer I struck down here, and on the second layer I'm going to strike about right here. All right. Now with my standard strike-off bar, I'm going to strike my concrete off level with the top of my measure here. All right, I'm going to take my towels here, and I'm going to go ahead and clean my flange really good. It's real important to clean your flange so you can get a good seal between the top portion of the air meter and the bottom portion. even something as small as a grain of sand can cause a leak. And remember, in this test, if there's any leak whatsoever during the test at all, we have to throw everything away and start over. It's real important to take the time to clean this flange and inspect your O-ring. All right, I'm going to go ahead and assemble my air meter here. Lock down my latches. All right, now with my specialized funnel, I'm going to insert it into the neck here. What this funnel does, it's got a side discharge here, so it doesn't disturb the concrete too much as we're filling it with our pouring vessel, filling it with water. And we're going to fill up our device here until we see water in the neck right here, and then we'll take the funnel out. I'll take my pouring vessel. All right, the water's appearing in my neck here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove my funnel. And with my rubber ball syringe, I'm going to fill it all the way up to where the bottom of my meniscus here is at the 0 line. All right, now that I have my water level where it needs to be, I'm going to go ahead and screw on my sealing screw cap. Look around, make sure we don't have any leaks. Everything looks good. So like I said before, if you find any leaks throughout this test, you got to throw the whole sample away and start over. All right, got my screw cap on. Now what I need to do is I need to take the air meter, and what we need to do is dislodge all the rocks from the bottom of the bowl and get them moving around in that water. So what we do is we take our air meter, we invert it, shake it a little bit, return it back, and we repeat that process for a minimum of 45 seconds. All right. So now that we've gotten our concrete all mixed up and have everything dislodged from the test bowl, what we want to do is put our device here at about a 45-degree angle right here. What we're trying to do now is get all those air bubbles to rise up into this neck here. So we're going to rock back and forth. And then every few seconds, I'm going to take my meter, I'm going to rotate it a third of a turn, and repeat that process. Now the whole time I can hear those rocks moving around in there. They're moving around really good. All right, I'm going to return my meter to an upright position. I'm going to let it rest. I'm going to let all that build up in there, and then I'm going to repeat the process a couple of times until there's no change in my air content. Now what I'm going to do to dispel that foam right there, I'm going to put calibrated cups full of isopropyl alcohol in here to dispel that foam. Remember, my calibrated cup here is equal to 1% volume of our total air meter. So fill my calibrated cup up here. We use my rubber ball syringe. Make sure I get all of the calibrated cup, and I'm going to dispel this foam with it. You can use as many calibrated cups as necessary to dispel the foam, as long as you don't raise your liquid level above the 0 mark. And we got to keep track of these. So I put one in, still have a good bit of foam. So here I'm going to put the second one in. All right, make sure I get it all. Don't waste any. There, all my foam's dissipated. I'm going to take my air reading to the bottom of my meniscus, and I'm going to estimate to the nearest 1/4%. See here? We're nearest 1.5%. And I know I put 2 calibrated cups of isopropyl alcohol in here to dispel my foam, so I'm going to add those to it, so my final air content is 3.5%. Now after we disassemble our air meter and dump out our rocks, we want to inspect our bowl and make sure we don't have any pockets of concrete stuck to the inside of it. A little bit of sand's lodged up in the inside of it, that's fine. There's no concrete in there. So that was a good test. We're done.